The History Guy here, and it is episode 4, playing the alpha early release game Foundation. This is my village of Jamestown, and if you did not see the first 3 episodes, there's a link in the description below that will take you all the way back to the beginning of the first episode. This is my first time playing through the game, starting a village and getting it going and going from there. So certainly going to be some things I'm going to learn along the way that I'm going to do better as I go along. Mistakes will be made. So as always, with all videos and all games that I play, I always welcome input, constructive criticism, what you think that I should do better or do differently. I have a thick skin, and I welcome that. That's how I learn, it's how I grow, it's how I get better, and hopefully you will as well as you read those same comments and as you learn from the things I do right and the things I do wrong. So we're going to dive back into things here, and I'm just looking over my village, and I'm thinking about the future, as I probably should do, because now it's not so much about adding new things, because I have most things that are currently available in the game. There are some more that I have to add, but for the most part, most of the basics are here. So now it's about growth and managing resources, managing people, and thinking about the future as far as food goes. Now I've got a lot of farmland right here, but moving forward, I've got to think about where am I going to expand as far as the town goes. Where do I try to keep all those resources together? So as I grow, one of the things, let's get off of the territory mode here for just a second, because we do have this territory here and we've started expanding in that area. I've got additional stone resources. Right here, I'm building a second wheat farm. I want to keep that close to the existing buildings for making bread and making flour. Eventually, I'm going to need a second baker. And then eventually, if I add another wheat farm, it'll probably go over here somewhere, so we keep everything kind of central as far as the farmland goes. Same with my sheep farms there. We'll keep all of our fishermen kind of in one area. The market's here in the center, and I think eventually we'll have to try and organize that a little better. Sawmill's kind of really super close to the center of town, and eventually that probably doesn't make a lot of sense. So there may be movement of some things here and there. And of course, way out here is where we have our iron industry. We've got our blacksmith, we've got our coal hut, which we're going to assign another couple of workers to eventually. We've got our iron smelter, and we've got our iron mine. So with that said, we're going to continue to grow. We've got new villagers coming. We need additional fishermen. We need additional charcoal burners. So right now we're going to allow as much immigration as possible. Right now we've got 28 serfs, 22 commoners, 18 citizens. I've actually got quite a bit of points here in the kingdom points that eventually I can spend on things. We can get the hunter's hut here pretty soon. What am I waiting on? We need 15 splendor. We don't have nearly enough splendor for that. We've got kingdom points, but not splendor. So same issue going to be in some of these other things. So how do we get splendor? Well, it's actually a fairly simple process, and it pretty much involves building things that look nice, not so much things that are useful. But you can kind of see, actually, I think some of them have, for example, to do with, let's look at our market here. We're going to edit the market. So we can add tents, which don't really do anything as far as adding to the usefulness of markets, but they make it look pretty. So that's really what this is all about, and it adds to my splendor. So we'll start adding some of those tents to the markets here. And we're still taking in a decent amount of gold, certainly a surplus. Let's go ahead and see if we can... if we've got those new villagers. I think we do. There's Joshua. Let's go ahead and add Lucio. So now we've got 3 fishermen at work. We're going to next add folks to charcoal burners. Well, we don't have any available workers right now. Additional immigration coming in just a little while. Happiness is very good. There's a new wheat farm completed. So again, going to need workers for these things. 28 villagers lacking in worship availability. So even though we've got a rather ugly church here, we don't have the capacity. So rather than add to that existing church, I'm more kind of thinking along the lines of building a new one to make it look a little nicer. I wish I could get new churches. I don't think... Okay, so we've got monasteries, but we need a lot of splendor for that. And we're not nearly close enough to do that. So maybe before we work on kind of a new church, maybe instead let's work on additional splendor, which can lead us to better worship type structures. An actual church, for example, which we can get. So rather than another rustic church, I think that's the way to go. So let's go ahead and look at... there's got to be other things that add to splendor. I think even my manor gives me splendor. But rather than adding there, I think we'll just work on little things that help with splendor right now. Which, of course, market's an easy one. So I'll do that. I'll get that queued up and going, and then we'll kind of go from there. I mentioned I am learning as I go, and one of the things I'm learning here is that splendor is different for each of these points. So labor splendor, of course, is developed by things like building these tents for the market, but that does not apply to kingdom splendor or clergy splendor. So clergy splendor is only going to be developed by doing clergy-related things. So that means we need to build onto the church to get additional splendor, which means I guess we are going to, in fact, go ahead and build onto this rustic church, and towers seem to be the way to do that, but they don't gain a lot of points. So I am a long way away from the 20 splendor points that I'm going to need for this church to be able to build a regular church. So we'll go ahead and queue up some towers on this thing. It's going to continue to be kind of an ugly church. Not my best attempt at building here, but it is what it is. So I don't know if making it taller is going to make more splendor. It looks like it will. So we're going to make a crazy tall... I don't want it to be obscene to the point where it doesn't even look good. So, all right, we'll go ahead and add on to that thing there. It's going to take a while before we get the points to be able to build a new church. So we're going to have an issue with worship if I don't add on to this thing. Right now, here's where we're at. With global happiness is good, but it's mostly worship that's an issue. 28 serfs, 24 commoners, 20 citizens, and we're continuing to allow people to come in. We've got to get some more charcoal burners going, but I'm waiting for additional citizens to arrive. All right, what do we need here? We need deliver... Okay, we've actually got enough berries to do that. So here's an opportunity then to add to our clergy points, not necessarily to splendor, but at least to the clergy points. So we're going to have to get those in position here in the market. Let's go ahead and switch this over. In the warehouse, I should say. And then we're going to max out the amount of berries we have in the warehouse so that we can deliver those. Here come the new villagers. And we'll get them assigned as charcoal burners because we're having a little trouble keeping up with charcoal to be able to help produce the iron right now. So plenty of iron ore, not enough charcoal, and not much iron happening. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So when I record, I usually press a button that starts the record, press the same button to stop record. Somewhere along the line, as I thought I was recording, I was actually not recording. So what was happening has been that I've been recording the times I thought that were silent and vice versa. So let me just update you on what has happened since I was last recording. Number one, I have started construction of a bridge right here. I've purchased this property across the river, started construction of a bridge, which takes a massive amount of stone to complete. I think something like 600 stone, 643, of which I've already put 231 into the construction. With that said, I've built additional stonecutter camps to help with that production. So I've got 5 more villagers working on stone. Now, I believe that gives me a total of 15 total. Let's take a look and see. Stonecutters, yeah, well, it might be 12. I don't know. So, yeah, we've got all those right there. So we've got 5 stone cutters there. We've got more and more. So we're producing a lot of stone, also producing a lot of wood. So what I've done is I've begun building a second church made almost primarily or mostly of wood. It needs a lot of planks and some stone and some tools, but that's going to alleviate the issue that I'm having with the lack of worship. That's my only need right now. My happiness is 88 right now, and it's 36 villagers lacking for worship. And this new church is going to at least alleviate some of that with 25. It's also going to give me a bunch more splendor. I have added to this church, this ugly church that I have, and we're still waiting on construction for that. But that's also going to give me some splendor, some capacity improvements. I've added some additional wells to deal with a lack of water supply. And I'm also over here, let's talk about this for a second, kind of my mining industry area. We're building a woodcutter camp because I think what's slowing me down from being able to produce more iron has been the lack of wood. So with this lumber camp, I can produce wood right here, which can then be turned into charcoal. I'm also have some residential areas here, and so you can see people are starting to build homes there. Hopefully that means that these folks are a lot closer to their work, which again cuts down on the time that is needed for things. We're also going to build a well there. So there's a lot happening right now. I've got more workers coming in all the time. Right now we've got 34 serfs, 30 commoners, 24 citizens. The only thing my citizens really need is worship to be happy. So that's all what's happening right now. Definitely a lot happening. Gold remains in good shape. I'm keeping a positive balance. It seems like other than stone and iron, I'm starting to build up a supply of things. Flour is also an issue. So I'm probably at the place where I need a third miller. But of course, again, that's an issue of just not having the supplies to build right now. So we're going to have to wait till the gold gets on the positive side. That's only going to take a minute or so here. As soon as it hits 200, we'll build this third mill. I've queued up a bunch of new builders. So a lot of my new workers that came in, I put them to work building. Oh, the other thing I should mention is I'm building a warehouse up here so I can store all of the mining supplies, the extras. So if I get maxed out on anything, that'll help with that. So a lot going on. Now you're caught up, and now we'll continue to kind of work on things. I love the fact these envoys keep coming and asking for my troops. It is such an easy way to make money, to make wine, which is expensive. So we're going to go ahead and assign those. I guess, and keep in mind, and I'll say this a lot during this series, this game is in alpha. This is very early release. There's so much left to be added. The game's something like 1.5 to 2 years away from their expected final release. There's a lot more that's going to be added. So I guess if I were to suggest something with that is that I would think it would be beneficial for there to be some risk involved, because otherwise it's so insanely easy to make money and wine and free territory from going out and serving these other magnates by sending my troops. So there's got to be some risk. So, you might lose some of those troops when they go off to fight, things like that. So to make it worthwhile. So, that would be my suggestion at some point. Looks like we're about 300 stone away from the bridge being done. We're going to have to, and I'm going to have to go ahead and get some bread into the warehouse so that we can ship it off to complete this little mission here, because it's a short one. There's only 14 days for that. So let's get that stone going. I may need to build yet another stone cutter at some point. We also are out of housing. So there's an issue there with having enough housing space. So because my builders are so busy with so many projects right now that I'm kind of stretched thin and not getting buildings completed that need to be completed, especially because of my lack of stone. So got to produce some more stone and got to get more houses built. I have queued up now just to get all of these projects completed, which is kind of a big thing. And I'm once again kind of filled on the amount of wood that I have, even though I'm continuing to stockpile it now in warehouses. So wood's becoming an issue, as is polished stone. I'm kind of maxed out on that too. I'm still having a little trouble keeping up with flour, but that's because we haven't completed this windmill. It's one more project among the many that my builders have right now that they've got to work on. We're very nearly done getting these houses. We got one house built. We're working on the others now. The warehouse is almost complete up here. We're just waiting on the last 3 stone, which it looks like Lauren is currently bringing. That's going to complete this warehouse, and we can start stocking all of these supplies up here. Hopefully get caught up on this iron industry need that we have. I think I'm probably going to go ahead and build yet another stonecutter camp. But the problem is right now I've just got so many other building projects that I'm going to probably have to wait on that one. But we'll go ahead and get it going here. And we'll put it right next to this stone here. Make sure that is a development zone. That's an area that we're extracting. I think I'm going to go ahead and give some additional area here for residential. It's not the best residential area just because it's away from everything. But eventually that won't be the case as we expand in that direction. So maybe we go ahead and let them know they can also build in this area here. So we're going to add some additional residential zone that's close to the main city center, or town center. It's not really a city. All right, the church is coming along nicely. We just need stone, we need tools, and we need time. Temporary halt to immigration. I don't want to get to the place where I don't have enough food. And I've got so many people working on building right now that once these building projects are caught up, I'm going to have a bunch of available workers. So I can use those available workers to fill the needs that are about to start coming. So I've queued up another fishing hut. Get me some more fish going. This church is very nearly complete. Going to have some more stone cutters coming. And thinking down the road for what else may be coming next. You know what, I'm just going to keep this all for now. I've got to start working on my Splendor, especially Kingdom Splendor, but also Clergy Splendor. Kingdom Splendor is going to come by building a better keep than the one I have right now. And once I have that, that's going to free up being able to build a hunter's hut, which is kind of my next desire there. I definitely want to be able to build a regular church, a monastery. We're going to have herbalists. I don't know what these are, copy something or other, coming soon, so it actually doesn't exist yet. So there's some more things coming there. And then over here, a stone manor, things like that, tax collector eventually. Still a lot to do, considering this is still an alpha game. So it looks like things are pretty well done up here. We're just about done with these couple of homes. That'll be nice to see how those things being done. I'm actually out of common clothes now, which is interesting because for a while I had a huge stock of that. Now what I have is a lot of wool, but not enough clothing. So just one of the reasons why I don't want to add any additional people right now. So I think we're going to go ahead and need to get, how are we on? So we're good on wool and cloth. So what we need is actually another tailor. So let's go ahead and put the tailor down here right next to the other one. So we'll queue that up. So I've got iron ore. I've got a little bit of a stockpile of coal now, which is nice. That's kind of where I was lacking. Now I need to start building up the iron. That'll keep us up to date on tools. There's another house going up. This church is darn near complete. We're just waiting on 10 stone and 20 tools, 21 tools. The bridge is looking nice. It's getting there. Only about 170 stone away. So that's nice because that's where almost all of my stone has been going. So it'll be nice to free up that stone for other projects. Boy, once again, yes, you could have my troops as always. We've got another mill completed, so we're going to have to shift some builders over to that role. One thing I want to point out that I just noticed, which is kind of cool, and I don't know why I didn't realize this before. At any point, this stockpile button, I guess, means if you hit that you stop using that resource, and nobody can use that resource, and you build that up. So if you have a need with a mission where you need to build up that amount of resource, you just hit that stockpile button. It's a really quick and easy way to bypass the way that I was doing it so that you can build up the resources you need to be able to ship out. So we've got our new tailor's workshop nearly completed as well. Our church is very, very close, just waiting on 4 tools, which Lauren is currently bringing. The bridge is looking really nice. So let's go ahead and get kind of a bird's eye view of that. We're just waiting on about 90 more stone. And since I completed another stonecutters area, that's about to be completed as well. So that's going to open up this territory over here. So I've got lots of space and a whole lot of free territories available to me. So building is not a concern as far as space goes. There's all kinds of room. It's just a matter of getting there. So this is my new stonecutter camp here. We've got 4 stonecutters going at it there. We're out of tools right now. So that's obviously a concern. We're going to need to get producing more of those. And I've got a decent amount of iron ore and coal. What I don't have is enough iron. So I guess what I'm going to need is another iron smelter to be able to start producing that a little faster. And then it looks like another blacksmith to be able to produce. Well, maybe the blacksmith is just waiting on more iron. So iron smelter is probably what I need. So let's go ahead and get another one of those going. We'll put them right there. That'll be more building that needs to be done. The rustic church is complete. People are thankful and they're already heading to worship. You can see them all heading over there, including some soldiers. Speaking of soldiers, sorry, I know you just went to worship, but I have another task for you. I need you to go and make us some gold and wine and territory. So there you go. So that's going to make folks happy. That's definitely going to see... oh, the sheep farm's full. So we got a lot of needs right now. Looks like we need some more wine. I don't know if that's what that is or not. That looks like wine, but I think it looks more like a sacramental wine, like we need a higher level of worship at this point for the folks in our village. So let's look at a couple of our citizens for a second and see what the need is. So it looks like we're a little low on goods. It is wine. Okay, luxury. Yeah, it's a luxury item. Okay. Still learning, as I said, and I'm building up another stall here so we can open up an additional area to sell some things. So you can see the stockpile where it stands. A little low on fish, but we're building another fishing hut, so hopefully we'll get caught up on that. Might need to build yet another one. Gold, we're out, but that fluctuates. That's not an issue. We've got a decent amount of wool. We've got to start producing more clothes. Flour continues to be a concern despite the fact that I've added another mill. Oh, we haven't actually assigned any workers to it. So that's just one of those things I've got to manage. Let's go ahead and switch some of our builders over to be millers. That'll help with that. Right now, we're going to keep it all. So I'm going to go ahead and allow immigration once again. I need more people. So we've got 2 new villagers joining. We're going to need another fisherman. We're going to need another tailor. We're going to need some additional builders once again. So the balancing act continues. We're going to go ahead and I think wait until the bridge is complete, and that'll be kind of our celebration in the end of this episode when the bridge is complete. You can see now the stockpile of wheat is decent. We're starting to build up a little flour now that we've got an additional miller. Starting to get the clothes back up. That'll continue to, it's back down to 0, but that's because we're selling. We'll get another tailor, so that'll help. So it's just that continual balancing act, and it looks like we're out of wine. So we're going to have to start buying some more wine. Maybe we just aren't producing it or trading for it fast enough. Hopefully, eventually, there'll be a way to actually produce our own wine, but for now, that's something we have to import. Is working on the construction of the bridge. We are waiting on 14 stone to arrive. And we've got the stone. We're actually up to 37 stone available. So the bridge is about to be complete. We've assigned a new tailor. We've assigned a new fisherman. Things are going well. And there, our soldiers have returned. And so we've maxed out our gold once again. And we've gotten some much needed wine in the process. And more villagers are coming, at which point I think I'm going to stop immigration once again, just till we make sure we kind of build up our resources a little bit. But right now, everything's on the plus side, except for tools and iron, but we're working on that. Way over here in our iron mining center, you can see that very soon the new iron smelter will be up and running. We're just waiting on the tools to make that happen. So once that happens, we'll be all set. As soon as the bridge is complete, we're going to wrap this episode up. There it is. The stone bridge is complete. We may now cross to the other side on a beautiful, nice little bridge there. So that's going to open up a little territory. Not much. I mostly did that out of vanity because I wanted to be able to build a bridge. So it took a ton of stone to do it. But now we're going to be able to build up that stone for other needs. So let's kind of pause and think ahead. Now the focus becomes building up these splendor points in labor, kingdom, and clergy so that we can get those additional needs fulfilled. We want to unlock the church. We need 20 splendor points for that. We're sitting at 15.4, so it's not going to take a whole lot more. Mostly just going to have to be additions to my little rustic churches that I have, which is then going to allow me to build some real churches and then down the road other things. So let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear them. As we continue this on, we'll probably try to do an episode every 3-4 days or so, as I've been doing so far. Thanks for watching. Please hit that thumbs up, and we'll see you again real soon.